Well, what up? Give it a couple minutes here while we get moving. Let some people fill in. We got a lot to talk about. It has been about a week since I did an actual stream. Yesterday's little mini stream doesn't really count. Um, we got a lot to cover. We got to cover some injuries. We got to cover the game coming up against the Saints. We got to cover the what ifs of the rest of the season. There's a lot of stuff we got to talk about here. And so much so that I just don't know where to start here. Gator fan, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. I I don't want to say what I'm going to say because some people are going to be like, "Oh, you delusional," whatever. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we got to talk about the what ifs of what happens if we win out. What happens if we lose? 2, 3, 4, 5 games. What happens in these situations? Talk about some possibilities for Mr. Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, some other players on the team. Lots of things to talk about. As you guys start coming in here, make sure to throw a like down, help me out, get some more people in the stream by doing that. Also, sharing my channel helps out a lot too. Like I said, I'm in North Pole, Alaska, so there's not a lot of Miami Dolphins fans up here. I am kind of alone. Yeah, I'm kind of alone. So make sure you share my channel, get it out there to some other Dolphins fans. Help me out with that. The goal is still to get to 500 subs by the end of the season. That's the goal. That's the hope. That's the shining ray of light at the end of this tunnel. Vince Ben, what's up? Good to see you in here, man. I haven't been on in a while, so I'm all excited to start seeing some people piling in again. It's going to be a good night. I want to start with yesterday. So we're at the point now in the season where obviously we have to win out, right? And no matter what, in order for anything to happen to save the season, I'm not even talking about playoffs, just for us to feel better about the situation, we've got to win out, right? And that's a tall task when you think about the schedule for us. Okay, it's not an easy schedule. The next 2 games you can look at and say, well, those are kind of easy, right? Those aren't bad. We're at home against New Orleans, and then we're in New Jersey playing the Jets. Those are the next 2 weeks. Now, I want to put in a little disclaimer here. As a fan, we have the purview to be able to look at the entire schedule right now and say, well, they got this, 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 and this. I really hope that the team is not doing that. I hope the team is looking at the Saints and saying, we got to worry about the Saints before anything else, because if they don't do that, then they're going to have some trouble. Us as fans, we get to look at the entire schedule. We get to look forward and say, this is what's going on. Kat, what's up, man? Good to see you in here, dude. Thanks for coming in. So we can look at the schedule and we can say, well, this, and this, and what's the possibilities of each of those games. Hopefully the Dolphins are not doing that. Hopefully they're staying focused on the New Orleans Saints. That's the game we have coming up this Sunday. Then we're at New York or New Jersey rather, playing the Jets. Put a big circle. We'll talk about the New Orleans game here in a second, but now we're on to the Jets. Let's say we're looking at that game. Put a big circle around that Jets game, because that game, the Jets are going to want to win that game very, very, very badly. More so than probably any of the other games on their schedule the rest of the season. They're going to want to win that game. No, yeah, the Aints. Yeah, they're having a rough year. And we thought we had it rough. I mean, they're having a really rough year. But we'll get to them in just a second. So after New York, you're going to Pittsburgh. So you're in New Jersey, then you travel to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. That game is going to be on NBC for the Sunday night game. Or I'm sorry, that's a Monday night game. Sorry, I lied. That's the Monday night game. That game won't get flexed, so it's going to be on TV. That's going to be a tall order for Miami. I mean, that's rough. I know Pittsburgh is kind of stalling out a little bit and doing their normal Pittsburgh thing, where, and that's another big point right there. Tua playing in the cold scares me. This year, brother, Tua playing scares me. And I'm not talking a bunch of smack about Tua. I'm not saying that. Just saying it makes me nervous this year, right? So after Pittsburgh, then we travel to Cincinnati, or we travel back home, and we play Cincinnati Bengals at home. That game is scheduled for a Sunday night game. I don't know if that game's going to get flexed or not. There's a good chance it will be if Cincinnati keeps winning and some other teams in their divisions continue to lose, the Ravens and the Steelers. If those teams continue to lose and Cincinnati wins, look for this Sunday night game to be on TV, because it'll carry a lot of meaning for both teams, right? Then you have the last game, or I'm sorry, after that we travel, we stay home, we play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That game, obviously, it's a big toss up right now. We have, is Mayfield going to play? Is Mayfield not going to play? They're a little banged up, and they started out 5-1, I want to say, and now they've lost 4 of their last 5. So Tampa Bay, you don't know who's going to show up right now. I mean, the next couple weeks will clarify things, especially with Baker Mayfield and how he's looking. And after that, we travel to New England, to Foxborough, to play the Patriots. And we all know the deal with the Patriots this year. This is not an easy schedule, especially those last 4 games. It's a tall order. I don't think the Jets want to win against us, because they will be behind us pick-wise, because they beat the Browns when we split. And that's a good point. I think that just because of the division rivalry, I think the Jets are going to try real hard to win that game. But, I mean, who knows? Like I said, I don't know. I'm just saying what I think. This schedule's not super easy. This is a pretty tough end to the season right here. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, New England. Okay. And this is why it's so important for these, especially these next 2 weeks, to come out of these games, build confidence, and come out with big wins. Not just squeaking out a win, right? They need to be big wins. And that starts with New Orleans. Scariest is Pittsburgh. Is that what everybody thinks? Does everybody think the Pittsburgh game is the scariest? I mean, it makes me nervous. It does. But as for me personally, assuming that the Dolphins can win out most of these games as they come, if we won out, I would be looking at that Cincinnati game and that New England game. Those are the 2 that make me the most nervous. But like I said, that's just me personally. I want the Colts to win out in New England to win all but their last. That will dent a lot of those non-division leaders, and the rest play each other multiple times to wreck the rest. There is, and we can talk about that too, because there is a lot of ways that this, and that's a good point, Kat. That's a good point. They are, and yeah, and that's a legit thing. Pittsburgh is a Monday night game, and the Cincinnati game is Sunday night. Slotted. The Cincinnati game might get flexed out. It just depends on how the rest of the AFC North pans out, because right now they're probably going to get flexed out of that slot, but it could end up staying, especially if Cincinnati wins a couple more games between now and then, and if the AFC North continues to fall apart, which is what's been happening. Yes, and that game in Pittsburgh is going to be frigid for sure. There's no way around it. It's going to be cold. So, New Orleans, New York, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, New England. That last 4-game stretch is going to be a gauntlet. And so that's why it's so important for these next 2 games for the Dolphins to buckle down, get some impressive wins out of these 2 games, and move forward with a little bit of confidence and fixing some of these issues. Like, I'll be honest, they have been playing much better these last 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Last 5 weeks, they've won, I guess 4 weeks, 3 out of 4 games, and that's good. What's up, Blake? Good to see you in here, man. Do you really think that? Right? I mean, right now they're sitting on the outside of the playoffs. I think. I mean, they're not even in the playoffs right now, are they? Let me look at this. Let me look at the playoffs. No, they're not even in the playoffs right now. They're going to have to do some things here to get back in. I did not think that was going to even be a possibility. I figured they would be walking away with their division. Dang. For the next 2 weeks, the Bucks and Finns are on the same network at the same time, so I won't be able to watch it live. Weird. Yeah, the Rams are just beating up on people. I mean, it's unreal. Warm-up cold game against the Jets before the bigger test in Pittsburgh at night on primetime. Good team, cold weather, and spotlight game. Also, it's not going to be a spotlight game, but that last game of the season in Foxborough, that's going to be a cold game too. Like I said, we've got, in all likelihood, we've got, I think, let me see here. Sorry, got to navigate. I mean, in all likelihood, we're looking at 1, 2, 3 of all 3 of our remaining away games are going to be cold. I got totally, yeah, you're right. I had a brain fart, and for like a solid 5 minutes there, I was thinking it was back in the day, and I was still thinking Stafford is playing for the Lions. Holy crap. Way to make me feel stupid, Cat. Jeez. Oh my goodness. That's a possibility. I hope you're wrong. I don't want the Patriots anywhere near the Super Bowl. I don't think he is either, and he might at some point, but I think this is going to be a quick out in the playoffs for the Patriots if they end up going, regardless of their standing. But that's just a thought. So these last 3 home games for us this year are away games: New York Jets, Pittsburgh Steelers, New England Patriots. All 3 of those games are going to be cold. They're all going to be cold. And that's going to be the test. You know, this is that year. You got to prove some of this stuff. Got to get out of some of these molds that we're stuck in. Hey, thanks for that. Do what he said right there. Do that. That's the way to go. There is a running game. Now, we've had some years back, you know, in the last few where we've had a good running game. Not last year really, but the year before that with Raheem, we had a good running game. The problem was Mike McDaniel just went away from it, right? This year they're depending on it a little more. So you're right, though. We do have a good running game this year. We just need to make sure to keep using it. And in those cold weather games, Mike McDaniel's got to buckle down and use it. Yeah, so let's just hop into that really quick. So we have Darren Waller has already begun his 21-day window. Mike McDaniel said he's on the table. And that kind of makes me think that there's a chance we could see him. I mean, I think if we do see him, they're going to be really, really keep him on a pitch count, right? Which means you're really only going to see him in third down situations, goal line, things like that. I would be okay with that. I would totally be more than happy to see that if it meant that he was back on the field. But what I don't want is I don't want to rush him back in these next 2 games. I want him back before the window ends, obviously, because I'd like him back before the season ends. But we really need him in those cold weather away games that we got coming up. The Jets, the Steelers, and the Patriots. We need him in those games. And whatever it takes to have that end up happening, I think if that means he doesn't play this week, I would be okay with that. But I really want to see him back. Rasul Douglas will be playing. Benito Jones will be playing. We're looking a lot healthier. Now, here's the thing that's James Daniels, I think, is not going to play any more snaps for the Dolphins. Me personally. After everything that's going on, I don't see him coming back. I think they started his window, I think officially, I can't remember, but I don't think he's going to end up making it back. The way that McDaniel talked about him and everything, it seemed like he's probably not going to be. Seems like I don't think he's going to be making it back, but we do have Austin Jackson coming back, and that is a good thing. Are we concerned about? Well, let me ask you guys: are you guys concerned that bringing Austin Jackson back and inserting him into this offensive line? Are you concerned that that's going to make our offensive line play worse? Because the offensive line has played a lot better in these last few weeks. Do you think that that's going to cause an issue with the meshing of the offensive line players together? Adding a new player in there, do you think that's going to cause an issue? I don't personally feel that way. I think that adding Austin Jackson would be a good thing, regardless of the fact how Larry Borom has played. But that's just me. That's just where I stand. And equally as important as my opinion is all of yours. So tell me what you guys think about that too. Need to give more snaps to Greg Dulcich. I agree. I think he's done a fantastic job. I want to see more of him. I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's a fantastic comment. They have. McDaniel and Tua can't dip into the Tyreek pool anymore. We'll keep running now that they've figured out how to work outside the confines of that box. I agree. Definitely can't be depending on Tyreek anymore. That's for sure. And let's be realistic. I really don't see any other thing happening more so than I see Tyreek getting cut at the end of the season or sometime in the off season. That's how I feel. I'm assuming you're talking about Daniels here. I say we bring him back slowly to see what it looks like and go from there. I agree. Bleed him in a little bit. The big concern with Austin Jackson is every single time that he comes off an injury, he gets hurt again. That's the concern, right? That's where we're a little worried, I think, as Dolphins fans, because he just constantly is hurt. And it would be nice to have a somewhat functional offensive line for the end of the season. Yes, I am. And I totally forgot to put the link down. Let me do that. Because I'm forgetful. And I haven't done a stream in a week, so I've been kind of, slacking. Here we go. Yes, the stream is open. Well, Kat, I hope that that's true, right? I do. I really hope that's true. I would like to see Tyreek back. I don't think that he's going to retire per se. But this is all just conjecture, right? Because we just don't know. But I do think that Tyreek is not going to retire. And I would like to see him back. The problem is the amount of cap space the Dolphins would clear if they let him go. With everything going on, the Dolphins are going to have to clear some cap space for the beginning of the season. So that's my thought is that I think that just because of the cap situation, they very well could end up clearing him. I also think that we've seen this will be the last season with Bradley Chubb and a couple other players, but those are the two main ones that I see going away. Yeah, he did. I don't know if any of you guys watched the game today, but I cannot believe it. The Chicago Bears, they won that game pretty well, pretty convincingly. So 24-15 that game was. It was a weird time slot for that game to be. I was at work and I got to watch a little bit of that game during work. That was weird. But in this whole mess of the NFL this year or this week, already we've had some games go the way the Dolphins need them to go in order to have a hope here. It's already happened. Kansas City lost to the Cowboys. Basically, what we should be hoping for is any of those games where an AFC opponent is playing an NFC team, you want the AFC team to lose. That's what you should be rooting for right off the bat. That's a no guilt win for the NFC. It doesn't affect us, and it helps us no matter what, right? Especially teams that are in the hunt, as a lot of people like to call it. Dude, yeah, they totally did. They broke the tush push. I agree, Christian Leap. Yeah, they did, and like I said, the Bears have kind of been a pleasant surprise this year. I'm not a huge Bears fan or anything like that, but I do appreciate good football, and they've been playing it. They're finding ways to win games. Sometimes it's not the prettiest, but they're finding ways to do it, and it's good. So the Kansas City Chiefs lost. That's big for us. That's a big one. Okay, Cincinnati beating Baltimore. That's big too, because Cincinnati is underneath us as far as rankings goes. So as long as we keep winning, Cincinnati will be below us, no matter what. Okay? If we keep winning, that's the only way these scenarios matter. If we keep winning, it's gonna benefit us if Cincinnati beats a bunch of teams in the AFC. So all those NFC North or AFC North matchups, Steelers, Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, as long as those games, as many of those can end with a Cincinnati win, we should want that. Those are things that help out a bunch. We should want the Bills to lose. I know it's crazy. And when you think about it, it's kind of weird even thinking if the Bills lose a few more games, there's a chance that the Dolphins could take them over. And that's just crazy to think about. So that's another thing that we need. Philly's starting to catch the Jalen Phillips curse, and the poor guy doesn't even know he's a carrier. Yeah, it's sad. I'm nothing but hoping for his success, right? But it is sad to see it happen. Hopefully he's okay. Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens have crumbled from the top of the NFL. Absolutely. Abel, what's up, dude? What's up? I'm going to post this again for everybody just so it kind of stays somewhat relevant in the comments. If anybody wants to hop in, feel free to. So we're talking about this, and let's go ahead and let me take a look at the let's see. Where can I do that? Oh, that's interesting. Let's get Kat in here. There we go. What up?
What's up? What's up, Fin Fam?
Those of you, by the way, that have not checked out AFC Easty Boys, go do that right now. It's a fantastic channel. Lots of great content.
Yeah, we like to have fun.
So what are you thinking about this as far as chances? Let's talk about it right now. Chances for us to do what needs to be done for the rest of this season and actually pull out something that a lot of people would be talking about for a while if the Dolphins could end up winning their final 6 games.
Well, I mean, whatever we got to do to get into playoffs, at least just make it in and possibly win a playoff game. That's really all that matters to us Dolphin fans right now, right? Like, we don't really think that we're going to go and compete with a team like the Chicago Bears or the Rams in the Super Bowl. But
Right.
so far, it seems like everything is kind of falling in the Dolphins' favor as far as like what we need to happen to fix this to make it into the playoffs. And I think the biggest piece that we need to fall this weekend would be the Steelers beating the Bills, because like you were saying, if the Bills continue to lose some games and we finish with a tie with the Bills, we beat them if we beat the Steelers.
Yeah. And right there, you can see it, everybody. If we're looking at this right now, the Bills, the Texans, the Chiefs, the Ravens, those teams, especially, we have got to see lose some games, right? And a lot of those, some of those losses take care of themselves because they're against each other, but we need to see that. You should also be wanting Pittsburgh to lose some games. Jacksonville, these teams, if they lose, it's going to benefit us.
Yeah, it
Kosa,
just
what's
sucks
up?
for some of them. It just sucks for some of them, right? Because Jacksonville has a pretty easy schedule to finish out the year. I think Houston has a pretty decent schedule to finish out the year. They do still have a couple hard games, but they're a couple games ahead of us, so like it kind of would even itself out.
Yeah.
But again, they beat the Bills. Although that would kill us in a tiebreaker because we lost to the Bills once and they beat the. Okay, that would kill us in a tiebreaker.
And Houston's got a pretty difficult schedule here coming up. Colts, Chiefs, Chargers, and Colts. Those 4 teams out of the 6. They got Colts, 4 really tough games. Colts twice.
So ideally, we want the Colts to sweep them, right? Because the Colts, if the Colts win out, that's not going to affect us any.
Right.
Same with the Patriots. Like if they win out, that's not going to affect us any. And honestly, we want the Patriots to win out so that they have number 1 seed locked down when it comes to Week 18.
Yeah, and look at the Steelers' schedule. Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, and Ravens again.
Yeah, so they could have, if you're counting us as a loss, easily have 3 more losses, right? That would put them at 8 losses on the season.
Yep.
Yeah. But then that means that the Ravens would win the division and they'd be in the playoffs. So it's like there's a question now. It's like who do you think we would have a better chance against, the Ravens in the playoffs or the Steelers in the playoffs? Because it would most likely be one of those teams we play in the wild card,
right?
If I'm not mistaken.
And then you want to take into account, out of the Steelers and the Ravens, which team has the harder schedule for the end of the season, right? Because if they have one team has a harder schedule, then you want that team to lose because it's a greater chance. But looking at the remaining schedule for the Ravens, it's Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. So I'm thinking the Ravens have a harder schedule, but they're playing better. Like, this is hard to pick out,
Well, I mean, are they playing better though? I mean, that loss to the Bengals last night was like, what Jackson doing?
That's true. So out of the Steelers or the Pittsburgh,
they're not keeping the football safe. Like Derrick Henry's had an ridiculous amount of fumbles. Lamar Jackson with that fumble last night, I know he was trying to tuck it back in and he just like the ball slipped out of his hand, but still like that was bad, man.
Yeah.
And then Isaiah Likely fumble going into the end zone too. Like they're making a lot of mistakes that they typically make in the playoffs, which can be scary to think like, okay, maybe they're getting those mistakes out of the way now, so when they make it into the playoffs, they lock in and play good, clean football, because it's just a matter of time before like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens get over the hump, right?
Right.
Especially if the Kansas City Chiefs don't make it into the playoffs this year, which I'm not saying they're not going to. But I'm just saying, like, if any year they don't make it in, this is probably the most likely year because those guys are tired. Whether you guys want to accept the fact of it or not, those guys are tired from running the championship run that they've done over the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Yep. So my whole thing here, looking at all this, is no matter how you spin it, right now, especially for the next few weeks until things unfold a little further, as much as we can, we should just be rooting for losses amongst those teams as much as you can, right? So those teams, Pittsburgh, Chargers, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Houston, Kansas City, Baltimore. Those teams we should be rooting for losses as much as we can. When they play each other, because they are going to be playing each other a few times here and there. I feel like it's going to be a win-win. We just got to let it unfold. But the ultimate thing we can take away from this is that there's a lot of ways the Dolphins could sneak in to that 7 seed. It's not like most years where you're looking at it and you're like, well, I don't see any teams losing, 4 out of 7 or 4 out of 6 games or 3 out of 6 games, depending on who we're talking about. But this year, I think there's a lot of teams that could very well wind up doing just that.
Well, we have a lot of teams coming out this year that are looking a lot better than they have been. Definitely a lot of dark horses for sure, like the Indianapolis Colts. I don't think anybody expected them to come out and like be as dominant as they have been. Although, like, their script is out now and they're starting to get figured out, and Danny Dimes isn't quite enough. They're not getting Jonathan Taylor's not able to produce like he was in the first half of the season.
Look at Blake's comment. Might not make it through the weekend.
No, he is. He's injured right now, and if they go out there to play, like he could get finished off. And like, who are they playing this week?
I think Texans, aren't they? Let me double check that.
I think you're right.
Yep.
And I honestly,
Texans.
Yeah, and we technically want the Colts to win that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Desperately. We should desperately want that.
We want the Colts to win that one. Now my question is like, who would we want to go against in the wild card? Because I'm if we make it in, most likely we're going to be number 7, right? So we're going to have to go against the number 2 seed. So that's either going to be at the current moment, it would either be the Patriots, the Broncos, or the Colts.
I would hope for a rematch against the Colts, personally, just because of the weather situation. That's what I would be hoping for.
Because it's in a dome, right? They're in a dome.
Yep.
Yeah, that is ideal. Definitely ideal. And too, like I feel like that probably would be the best matchup, because like we were in that game until we weren't in that game. Like it seems like that game was a blowout. It really does. But until we got that first or that penalty for roughing the kicker, we were in that game.
Yeah.
And then from there, they kind of just took off with it, and we had no answer.
Yep. I agree. So with all this craziness going, and you think, and if anybody thinks the AFC playoff picture is crazy right now, go look at the NFC. It's even worse. Like it's even more crazy. So the parity in the NFL this year it's off the hook. And as a fan of the NFL, not just as we're all Dolphins fans here, right? But looking at this schedule or the remaining schedule of these games that the NFL has set up for the end of this year and the standings for the NFC and the AFC, this is going to be a wild finish to the NFL season. I mean, Kat, can you remember at any point in the last 20 years where there have been this many teams in the hunt in the NFC and AFC this late in the season?
Well, I know that one year that the Commanders made the freaking playoffs with what under 500 record. I think it was pretty wide open then.
Yeah, when they made it at 7-9.
Yeah,
or was it 6-9?
It was stupid ridiculous. It was under 500. I think it stupid ridiculous. At that point, I'm like, bro, why can't you just? You had I think we had what a 12-5 team or an 11-5 team not make it in, and a 7-9 team made it in. It's like, how does this even make sense?
It's like I said, I know that we want the Dolphins always to win, right? As fans, that's what we want. But this year, I mean, these playoffs are going to be off the hook. Like, this is going to be a fantastic postseason for the NFL. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited no matter what. Obviously, I'll be way more amped if our beloved Miami Dolphins actually make the show. But even if they don't, it's going to be a fantastic playoff series. It's going to be good. Kosa says the Rams will win Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm not going to say they're not. The Rams are killing people.
No, they're definitely my favorite right now for the Super Bowl. But after watching the Chicago Bears, like I can easily see the Chicago Bears sneaking into the NFC Championship if they get the right path in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And if they make it to the NFC Championship with the Rams, I think Chicago is probably the only team that can beat the Rams. The question is going to be whether they can keep up on offense, because that's going to be the key for them. Because the Rams' offense is just lights out, man.
Yeah, they are so good. You guys remember in the beginning of the year when everybody was all freaked out about Matt Stafford and the shots that he had to get in his back and the injury that he had, and Matt Stafford. I distinctly remember a couple NFL shows saying Matt Stafford should retire. Yeah, right.
I'm kicking myself in the butt, bro. I legit made a video saying he was going to be MVP, but I didn't make the fucking bet, and here I am kicking myself in the butt. I apologize for cussing.
Trust yourself. Yeah, that was the year, Abel. That was the year when RG3 was the quarterback, and they were entertaining, but they made it in with like a serious losing record. And I cannot remember off the top of me. There was a couple 11 win teams, I think, that year that didn't end up making the playoffs, or at least a 10-win team. Either way, it was nuts.
Yeah, I think at that point, like the NFL needs to step in and be like, okay, well, this division just isn't getting into the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's a free ride for somebody in the first round of the playoffs.
Yep, I agree. Man, why can't we have that? That would be nice. And now we're coming up on the end of the season, and this is where everything matters. So we have all this fun stuff that we can talk about, but we've got a game coming up against the Saints, and that's what we hope. That's what the Miami Dolphins are focused on. If they're not, there's some concern. we should be thinking about the Saints game as well a little bit. And this concerns me. I mean, I don't put any stock in this, but the matchup predictor over here, I always find this entertaining. According to ESPN Analytics, the Miami Dolphins are favored 64.5% to win this game against the Saints. That scares the ever-living piss out of me.
I'm excited. I'm personally excited for this game because, like, they're having a members' day on the field after the game. So I'm going to take my son, and hopefully we can get a win and then go down on the field afterwards and play some football. So
I'm so jealous. I hope you have a good time, man. I want to go so bad to a Dolphins game. But for me, it involves a little more than just taking
driving
a drive or a short flight.
Yeah.
It'd be a 3-day drive.
Yeah, no, I live close enough to where I make the drive.
Man, I hope you have a good time. That's all I can say, man. Enjoy it. And hopefully the Dolphins put on a good show and everything works out like we're hoping. In this game, though, I'm really seeing an opportunity. And like I said, I don't want to jinx it by saying this, so I'm going to knock on my desk here. I see this as an opportunity for the Dolphins to actually kind of slip out of the funk a little bit, right? I see this as that game where the Dolphins should be able to really open it up. And not just on offense, but on defense too. The Dolphins should be able to tee off on whoever they have as their quarterback, whether it be Spencer Rattler, right? Or or who's more likely going to start the game, which is Shuck. So either way, they should be able to tee off on the Saints in this game. The question is, will they? Tell me what you think.
No, this should definitely be a game where we should be able to have fun, and Mike McDaniel should have a little bit of freedom to play around with the playbook and really test some of these young guys that we have, like utilizing Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright a little bit more so we can get a proper backfield, to make everybody respect the run. It's like, yes, you respect Devon A-Chain, but at the moment, the way it is right now, it's like, when Ollie Gordon comes in, like, it's going to be a run up the gut or through the A gap, but like we need to do it better. To like, if you were watching the Chicago Bears game today, the way they were splitting DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, like you didn't know if Kyle Monangai come in, it wasn't always a pass or always a run up the middle. Like the way that they did it. And Mike McDaniel, he's going to have some freedom to figure that out this week with the Saints.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, everything is stacking up for this to be a decisive win for Miami. And as far as I'm concerned, this game should be won by 17 plus points. It should be a butt whooping. And you're looking at Alvin Kamara is out. Olave is out. They're missing serious offensive weapons in this game, and they've got big question marks at quarterback. This should be a blowout, right?
I mean, one of the things that scares me though is the fact that like we could easily see Tua Tagovailoa go out there and throw for north of 250 yards and 3 touchdowns when against a team where he should throw north of 300 yards and probably 4 touchdowns. But it's just going to put that false hope back into the Dolphin fans, all the people that are supporting Tua. Now, granted, I'm not against Tua at all as far as a person goes, but as far as the quarterback of my team, I'm just dealing with it while we got it. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
And here's my thought. And it's funny you said that. You mentioned that at a perfect time. Kosa said what would concern the Dolphins about the Saints, and you bring up a good point there. And a lot on paper, if you look at the Saints, they're like the 15th or 16th ranked passing defense in the NFL. That's not that bad. But here's the reason that's like that is, and I want people to understand this. The reason that their passing defense is showing as decent is because nobody passes against them, not because they're good, but because they don't have to. The Saints get run all over almost every week. They allow a lot of rushing yards and a lot of rushing touchdowns. And I think that this could be a game where if we get our run game going fast enough, you could see Tua be able to take advantage of that. Can he? Will he? I mean, we don't know, right? That's why they play the game. But if you're asking me what my big concern is about this game, it has nothing to do with the Saints. My concern is that the Dolphins will do what they always do, and at least a lot of times is play down to the level of who they're playing against, right? That's my concern. Is are we going to actually play to our limits, or are we going to play to theirs? And it scares the piss out of me.
Well, hopefully it's the latter, right? And like hopefully they're back to enjoying football because like in my opinion, what I was seeing in the beginning of the season, it seemed like they were a bunch of tryhards. You know what I mean? They weren't really enjoying the game. Everybody was trying hard to do their job or also try to do someone else's job at the same time, leaving their job unfinished. Which led to mistakes or missed tackles, big plays, things like that. But what we're seeing now is it seems like the team is actually coming together and they're enjoying playing football. And when they do that, the sky is the limit. We look like we did against the Buffalo Bills.
I agree. Yeah. And it does seem like they're having a lot of fun right now. And they're doing, like I said, we all know they're playing better than they did in the beginning of the season, right? Winning 3 out of the last 4. And a couple of those wins were against pretty good teams. I don't care what anybody says. The Falcons are a pretty decent team. Um, Kosa says, "Will Achane have a great game?" I think he will. I hope he will. But it depends on a lot of things, obviously. Mainly, I hope that our offensive line can really put out a dominant showing in this game. Obviously, that's going to help with Achane. But Achane doesn't need a whole lot of great blocks. He just needs one per snap. Give him one good block, and he's gone.
Well, like you mentioned earlier, we do have Austin Jackson coming back, and this 6 lineman package that Mike McDaniel's been rolling out there has been working for the most part, in allowing the run to develop. And I think adding Austin Jackson in is only going to help that. Yes, it's going to be a little rusty at first, but by the end of the game and then by next week, even better, like it'll be a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait to see how this unfolds. we've got like I said, this is just the beginning of this. We need to get a win here, right? We want one. We want that, but what I don't want is I don't want just a squeaky by game. I don't want us to just squeak by this and barely come out of here with a win. We really need to see a big win.
Yeah, we can't win this like we beat the Commanders.
Right.
It's got to be a convincing win, not a cop-out field goal in overtime on a 1st and goal.
Yeah. Bullets are whizzing by. Who cares about culture? Win, baby. Oh, man. I think they definitely were. I think they were taking things a little. I mean, I know it sounds silly, professional football players, but I think they were just trying to take it a little too serious. And I think it kind of caught us a little bit, got us off guard. So many games this season were just lost on a couple plays.
Yeah, and it was plays that we did. It was fault of our own. Like and most of those games that we lost, like the other team didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. Like the first time we played the Patriots, like we beat ourselves. The first game against Buffalo, we beat ourselves. Just stupid penalties, missed tackles, false starts. Like I'm glad Mike McDaniel has cleaned up the play call to where like we're not getting 3 late, like three plays a game to where they can't get the play in and we got to call a timeout. You know what I mean? He's slimmed it down to at least 1 per game now, which is still not good. But I mean, considering what it was week 1 through 6, it's a lot better.
Yeah. Things are like I said, everybody seems to be doing a little better now. Is it the best in the world? Are we playing out of our minds? No, we're not. But definitely looking better, and at least from a fan's perspective, it's giving us something to cheer about, right? Something to be happy about.
Right. Yeah. I was just about to say, at least we're not rooting for the tank anymore.
Right. Well, and that's the sad part is there's still people that are rooting for the tank, and it's like you seem to understand it, and most of the people who are on my channel who watch my channel seem to be very, very cognitive of this. Is that this is not the year for the tank?
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah, maybe if we start out really, really bad next year, maybe that would be a better year to root for it. But I always tell people on this channel that I'm not going to tell anybody else how to fan. Like you're a fan, you be a fan your own way, but I can't root for losses, and I never will. I'll always root for the win. Give me the dubs. Let's see.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why we root for our team. We root for our team to win. You know, it's like, yes, in certain situations, losing can be winning, but look what happened to us the last time we lost to try and win. Here we are 6 years later with a quarterback that just wasn't him. Now, I'm going to back to it here. I feel like he just got the bad end of the stick in his, like the way that he was treated and the cards he was dealt early in his season kind of formed him into the quarterback he is today. I feel like he could have been a better quarterback, but unfortunately, it is what it is, and we move on, right?
Yep. Finsman says the path ahead for the Finns is a script from an Indiana Jones movie. Every step reveals another deadly trap that can ruin everything. We've got to be perfect. I agree. And a little bit of news here. Earlier today on Twitter, Omar Kelly did make a quick little tweet saying that Darren Waller will be activated and on the field for the Saints game. Not bad news. I like to see that. I want to make sure Dulcich is in the game as well. So hopefully they both get snaps.
How much you want to put a little friendly wager that he's only coming back because it's the Saints game and it's not really a challenge for him, and then he ends up getting injured and out for the rest of the season?
Warm-up game?
It's like a warm-up game. Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm gonna play the Saints, and then like I'm gonna fake an injury. I'll be out unless we make the playoffs, and then I'll come back.
I don't want to make that bet.
20 push-ups. 20 push-ups.
Okay, which side of the bet am I taking?
Oh, you don't want to make the bet. It's all good. I was betting that he's gonna disappear after the Saints game.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't want to put it out in the universe, but I mean, it's possible. That would be so Dolphins. Okay, so Dolphins back at home after their bye week. They're getting rested. They've got some players returning. Rasul Douglas will be back. That's going to be huge for Miami, right? That's big. And those of you that don't know or haven't been paying attention, Rasul Douglas has been playing very, very well this year. Not the Buffalo Bills spy, much like we had last year in Jordan Poyer. Rasul Douglas is playing lights out. So I think it's going to be really good to have him back. Hopefully he's healthy and able to do what he needs to do. I'm looking at this game. I'm seeing a blowout, and I'm going to go ahead and call it as such. I'm taking the Dolphins. I'm gonna do it. Miami 34, Saints 14. That's the prediction. 34-14 Miami. Let's hear it.
Miami's getting ass for I know that. 34 Miami. I would love to see that. I'd love to see that, especially at home, because that means Section 349 is going to be live, and we're going to be cheering, and like my son's going to be having a good time standing up on his seat and yelling and screaming. And 14 points. That means Section 349 is getting loud, and we're doing our job as the 12th man on defense. They're probably getting a couple false starts, like maybe we get a couple fumbles or an interception from Jack Jones or something. That sounds really good. I can't go that high on our side. I got to go something like 28, but I am going lower for the Saints, so it's going to be like 28-10.
I would almost rather see that. The 10 points. 10 points. That would be nice. Keep them under one touchdown.
Yeah, because they don't have a lot of weapons right now that can score a touchdown. Sure. I'm guessing Juwan Johnson probably finds the end zone against us because we are weak against tight ends. If we can buckle that down, then we have no problem shutting them out. Like if we can buckle it down to where Juwan Johnson doesn't get to eat or feast on us, we could probably shut them out. I'd like to see that, but that's going to be tough.
And also, Shuck was the leading rusher for the Saints last week. So one of the touchdowns I think the Saints are going to score is going to be a Shuck rushing touchdown. Since we seem to struggle with containing quarterbacks for the most part, I could see that happening too.
So you think it's Shuck? I think it's going to be Johnson.
Oh, I smell a bet. Oh, man.
When do you play up? We play the Steelers, 3 weeks from now.
Yep.
You're going to get better because you're going to get stomped if you don't.
You hear my dad in the background talking
I
crap?
hear him.
He's a Steeler fan, bro.
I hear him. Fan's gonna fan.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, Steelers got to figure some things out too.
Yeah.
I know they're having an issue with the quarterback right now. It's so frustrating. I can see frustration because I follow all these different teams. Right, every team I follow a bunch of channels on YouTube for each team, and from the Steelers channels that I follow, I hear the same thing over and over and over again. Is here we go again. Here we go again. Yep, and referring to the fact that they just cannot seem to get a reliable quarterback, and they always seem to have issues at the end of the seasons.
No,
and they
I don't want to hear.
result in 9-8. And
They're frustrated. I don't want to hear that from any Steelers fan. They went and they got one of the most reliable quarterbacks that is still in the league right now in Aaron Rodgers. I don't care what anybody says. In my opinion, he is one of the most reliable quarterbacks. Yes, he had a bad 2 years with the Jets, but that's the Jets organization, and Aaron Rodgers was pretty much running things over there. So you can't expect him to be a quarterback and a coach and a GM and all of that at the same time. Where the Steelers messed up is by not going and getting him a solid receiver before the free agent, before trade deadline hit. They shouldn't have got rid of George Pickens. I guarantee you Tomlin is kicking himself in the ass right now for getting rid of George Pickens, because imagine if you had George Pickens and DK Metcalf plus those tight ends that they have, bro, they would be at the top of the AFC right now. It'd be no question.
Yeah. And Abel
look what George Pickens is doing for the Cowboys.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Abel and Costa bring up a good point here. Abel says there's a lot of rumblings about Tomlin right now, and I agree. There are a lot, especially coming from Steeler Nation. Costa says Tomlin has had everything to do with a once great Steelers franchise being just mediocre. But at the same time, as a Dolphins fan, I'm looking at them being 9-8 every single year, never having a losing record since Tomlin has been there. And I'm like, man, that would be kind of nice.
I mean, but think about it, Frozen. But think about it. Is it really nice? Because you're always in the middle of the pack. You don't never win a championship. You're never in a position to where you can get a good draft pick.
That's true.
So you're always caught in the middle. And a lot of these real true Steeler fans, they know that Tomlin came in and took over a Bill Cowher built team and was able to win with that. And then now hasn't been able to build a team like it since.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, okay, you've had winning seasons, 9-8, 10-7. You know, we haven't won a Super Bowl. We're about to lose. Look at it this way. They're looking at the New England Patriots, who just got done with a dynasty, took 3 years off, and are now looking to go back to the Super Bowl and take the lead for Super Bowl rings from the Steelers. Or actually, I think they already got it, right? Because New England has 7, the Steelers have 6, or do they have 7?
The Steelers, I think they have 6 right now.
Yeah, what? Super Bowl rings? 6.
So I would be pissed if I was a Steelers fan too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're 6-5. Yeah, it's crazy. And no, Kosa, I don't like mediocrity, but I'm a Dolphins fan, and what I don't like is starting 2 seasons in a row 2-7. That's what I don't like. And looking at that, yeah, I don't want to be not doing anything in the playoffs year after year, but I would like to make the playoffs. I'd like to not be 7-9. I'd like to not start a season out 10-2 or 9-2 and then finish barely above 500 and lose in the first round of the playoffs. I'd like a team built properly. I mean, there's a lot of issues with Miami right now.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would take Mike Tomlin in a heartbeat. I feel like he would fit really well down here in Miami, and like that's the kind of coach that we need again, is a hard nosed defensive minded coach, because we always did a lot better when we had a defensive coach compared to the offensive coaches that we get.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember growing up, and like, yes, the Dolphins haven't won a lot. Like, I started watching football in '95. I was 7 years old, and I remember our defense was pretty much the pinnacle of the Dolphins after the Dan Marino era.
Yeah. Kosa says no Tomlin to Miami. I'm not saying I want Tomlin right now. I do think that we need a tougher coach. If we get a new head coach, I think it needs to be on the opposite side of the spectrum of what McDaniel is in. I think that would be the next logical thing, kind of like what you said, Kat. The same kind of thing. It would make sense to kind of go that direction with the next head coach. But ultimately, whose purview does that fall under? That falls under the owner and the GM, right? So before any decision like that is made, before anything is made like that, any decision, we need to iron out who's going to be the GM. That needs to be first. Ooh, Abel says Tomlin or Mike McCarthy.
I mean, like, they both have similar resumes. Mm-hmm. Like, if you put them side by side, both of them have very similar resumes. McCarthy would probably be cheaper because he's been off for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, Kosa, I agree. That's one of the weak links. Like I said, Stephen Ross does have things that he does well. Mainly, he's got a big pocketbook, and he's usually more than willing to open that up to make things happen. And a lot of owners aren't on that same page as he is with that. So he does have some good things going for him. But at this point, I'm wondering, if he's making any decisions, I don't think he should be the one making any decisions right now. I think that whoever our GM ends up being, I think that every decision needs to be up to him, including a very small point I want to make. And I'm sure everybody in this entire room is going to agree with me. The Miami Dolphins this year are going to be playing in their throwback uniforms, the throwback aqua uniforms,
against the Bengals,
the Cincinnati Bengals.
Let's effing go.
Dude, I'm telling you, anytime we wear those green throwbacks, and I'm not saying aqua because it's not aqua, they're green. I love those jerseys. I think they are the best jerseys ever for the Miami Dolphins. And I'm so excited. I think that our GM and our owners need to give up on this cursed uniform that we have right now and return to greatness.
The logo too. The logo's got to go. The logo's got to go. I don't know if anybody else has recognized it or not, but the soft label that the so-called Dolphins have, and this is what I was talking about. Like, I remember growing up, we had tough defense, but like they label us soft. If you guys actually pay attention, that started in 2012 when we changed it to this logo that we have now.
Yeah. The whale.
The whale.
It looks like a freaking whale. My phone is going crazy. Apologies,
no,
everybody.
See, like the logo that you got in the background right there. That's the old school one.
Yeah, man. I like I said, I like them both. I even have all three helmets up there, the mini helmets, for the progression. But the old school and the 90s helmets, or jerseys, I love them. The new ones, I like the colors. Like, I like the aqua color. But I don't like the logo. I can't stand it. I want the old logo back, or maybe an updated version of the old logo would even be okay. The whale, the toothpaste, the airplane.
Which one's the toothpaste? The Buffalo or the Patriot?
I think it would be
Buffalo.
Buffalo, right? Or no, maybe it is the Patriots.
Which one's the toothpaste? What is
That's
that?
got to be. It's got to be New
Abel
England,
the
right?
baller.
Oh, me either, Finspin. I'm actually one of the few that actually loves the Dark Waters uniforms. If they had
Unfortunately,
those with the classic logo, I would be in heaven.
That still won't make them play no better.
actually, we won and we dominated the night that we wore those. Thank you.
That don't mean shit. They were playing good that time.
Oh, it's
You agree,
our emblem?
y'all defense needs to get off their ass and do their job.
I don't know how it looks like toothpaste, but I'm not going to argue.
Fuck you mean, too.
Abel says it's our our logo that looks like toothpaste. I'm having a hard time not seeing it now. Dang it. Oh man. Yeah, I agree. I want the classic. So I'm excited. We're gonna get to see a throwback uniform for at least one game this year. Thank goodness. I was worried, like you guys were, that just because we had the rivalries jersey, that they weren't gonna bring a throwbacks in for us, and that would be a shame.
When you play the Steelers, no, we go with that anyway. It don't matter.
Oh my god.
Gator wants the 72 jerseys.
Well, you better be there with me during the stream of that game.
If I can, I will. I don't give a damn. I ain't scared of the fans because they don't like the Steelers. So I'm gonna root for the Steelers.
Man.
I take my fucking cane with the fucking skulls on it because that's steel. Remember they told me I couldn't have it in last time. And I told them, motherfucker.
No. It's in Pittsburgh. We'll be here.
Oh,
we'll be here.
Play us in here.
No.
That sucks. I ain't going to Pittsburgh. It's too so fucking cold.
Hopefully the Dolphins aren't saying that exact same thing. It's too cold.
They're gonna freeze their ass off.
Oh yeah, for sure they are. It's hard to play football in the cold. I mean, I used to play. I played a lot of football, college and high school, and cold games suck.
I did too. I played.
At least we're not going to have Tyreek Hill there convincing him to go sleeveless.
They're fucking behind there. Can't catch the ball.
See, the big thing is like back when I played in high school, like those of you that don't know, I live in North Pole, Alaska. So when we were playing in high school, the last 2 or 3 games every season, they were anywhere from 0 degrees to 10 below to 10 above, right around that area, and it was cold, especially if it rained a little bit because it hadn't quite snowed, or if there was a little bit of rain the night before and it got all muddy. Oh my goodness, it was miserable.
All right, so let me ask you a question, because I know, like, usually the colder it gets, like, the harder the hits feel. But I feel, is it, like, at that cold, is it still, like, harder, or are you just numb at that point and you don't realize?
Oh, dude, no, like, it hurts so much. And it's not just like a blunt impact at that point. Basically, what ends up happening is any part of your pads, or even your shirt or whatever you're wearing underneath your pads, anytime anything touches your skin and impacts it. So like if you take a hit, your pads bunch up on your shoulder, everything stings so bad. That's the difference. It's not so much an impact, but it's the sting of your skin being so cold and beet red that even when you're numb, it just hurt. It stings so bad. It makes you literally flinch away from contact. And that's why, like, anytime I see teams playing in the cold, like, I understand exactly what they're feeling, because it's not fun. And it takes a special kind of mentality to get past it, right? Like most of us up here, we have the ability to get past it and deal with the pain. But the only way to deal with it is be accustomed to it and do it a lot. But it doesn't mean the pain doesn't go away. Like, it stings.
Well, this is a great topic because I've talked about this before, and like I've been down to our training facility and I've been inside the training facility, and it kind of makes me wonder, like, with the technology that is available nowadays, why can't we simulate cold weather environments inside of our training facility so that these guys are getting that type of environment? Like they're able to train in it more often.
I don't know. I'd imagine it just takes a lot of prep to get something that cold. I'm not sure. I mean, shoot, you could just put. They make those bodysuits that have like water in them. Just freeze them up like an ice pack, and then they have everybody wear them when they're running around playing in practice. Have them experience it. I agree. Something needs to be done.
Throw 2 more ACs onto the building and crank all them bitches down to 0. Throw
They
a couple
did that a
fans
few
in there,
times.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have somebody up in the rafters, like dropping some fake snow. Like, figure something out, guys. Like,
I agree. All right,
so
guys.
do you have any hot takes for hold on, do you have any hot takes for the Sunday?
Hot takes. You give me one and I'll give you one.
All right, I could see A Chain getting 3 total TDs.
Ooh, I'd like that. All right, so hot take for the defense for the first time this season, and actually the first time in 2 seasons, I see Miami getting 2 interceptions this week. Not just 1, but 2. I see 2 picks coming in this game, and one of which I see being a pick 6.
Okay, so do you want to give me 2 names to throw a bet on? And if I win, I'll toss you some money.
I would say Jack Jones, but for some reason, something about this game is making me think one of our middle linebackers is going to get an interception. Give me Jordan Brooks on a pick, and give me a Jack Jones interception.
All right.
That's the hot take for the defense. For the offense,
Boom.
I see 3+ touchdowns for Tua, which I think would be, yeah.
He should get that. Like, he should get that for sure. If he doesn't, I'm gonna personally find him and slam him on the ground and give him pink eye. I'll personally go give him pink eye. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys.
All right, guys. So this Sunday, the Dolphins begin the rest of the season, and every week we need to look at it like that. I think everybody's on the same page with what we think is going to happen. All we need to do now is watch the game, hope for the best. I hope that I'm going to be able to live stream the game. Time will tell as we get closer to the game time. I'll make a post on my page about it. I hope to see you guys on Sunday if I'm live streaming. If I'm not live streaming, I will be on after the game on Sunday night, and we'll cover the game and talk about it, have a little therapy session. Either way, win or loss. Cat in the Hat, thank you for being here, dude. I appreciate you coming in here and chatting it up with me. It was a good
no
time.
problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Tell everybody where they can find you real quick.
Oh, go check out the AFC EC boys. All one word.
All one word. All one love.
Fins up for life.
Everybody here, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you guys throw a like in as you guys leave. Have yourselves a fantastic Friday night, Saturday night. And most importantly, stay hopeful if you can. And we'll talk to you guys next time.